The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Friday, the 10th of June, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,273.54 an ounce, silver $17.32 an ounce, Texas crude $50.56 a barrel, and Bitcoin seems to be leveling off at 580 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1967, the states of Israel, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and Egypt end the Six-Day War with assistance from the United Nations. Arab casualties are estimated at around 20,000, while fewer than 1,000 are estimated for Israel. Though the ceasefire wasn't signed until the 11th, the United Arab Republic began their retreat between them and Israel in the Six-Day War. Today in history. In recent news, Brian Armstrong recorded an incident around noon outside the Dallas Love Field Airport today, where an unidentified man was shot several times right by the entry-exit doorways by the police. Of course, the airport was briefly placed on lockdown. Dallas Assistant Chief of Police Randall Blankenbaker said that a number of people who had been waiting to get through security when the shots went off ran past the TSA workers to get away from the chaos, and this was the reasoning for the lockdown. Apparently, the man who was shot and a woman, the mother of his kids, got in some kind of domestic dispute outside of baggage claims when the man began to use rocks to attack the lady. When she cried for help, the police showed up, and then he allegedly began to charge the police, which led them to firing several rounds into him. Luckily, she wasn't hurt, and the officer that shot the man was placed on leave, as is normal procedure following any shooting. The incident is under investigation. Alphabet Incorporated's Google is battling accusations that it manipulated its predicted searches function to favor Hillary Clinton. This is after SourceFeed, which is owned by Discovery Communications, showed that typing Hillary Clinton, CRI, into a Google search box yielded suggestion queries related to crime reform, crisis, and a crime bill, but it didn't include the suggested search of Hillary Clinton crimes. That is, although Google statistics show that search is more common than the suggested ones. Google said in a statement that, quote, Google autocomplete does not favor any candidate or cause. Claim to the contrary simply misunderstands how autocomplete works. Google also said that autocomplete software won't show a predicted query that is offensive when displayed in conjunction with a person's name, which apparently crime is listed in the list of offensive terms. This is Rick Rohde with your lowdown for June 10th, 2016.
Good day to you all, you crazy schmohawks out there in radio listening land. You are listening to the Voice of Reason radio show here on the Logos Radio Network and 89.1 FM here locally in Austin, Texas. This is Ben Farmer, and it is a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. Don't move here. This is the official radio show of the Libertarian Party of Texas. To get involved with the Libertarian Party of Texas, go to lptexas.org. We've been away for a couple of weeks, so a lot has happened. That's right. 2 weeks ago in Orlando, Florida, we had our national convention where we nominated our candidate for president of these United States. And guess who we nominated? We nominated Governor Gary Johnson, a two-term governor of New Mexico. That is a state just north of Old Mexico and right next to Texas. Republican governor of New Mexico in a heavily Democratic state. We also nominated as our vice presidential candidate two-term governor Bill Weld, a Republican governor of a heavily Democratic Massachusetts. So we have the most executive experience out of any of the parties running right now. But if that is not enough reason for you to vote Libertarian in this election, let me give you two incredible reasons to vote Libertarian. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I'll say that again. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. How about that for two incredible reasons to vote for the Libertarian Party in this election coming up in November, folks? Are there any never clump people out there? I think there should be. Never clump. Vote Libertarian. It's different this time around because we're on all 50 ballots, folks. All 50 ballots. Never has that happened before. Never has that happened before. And the reason is we're just better at it than any of the other parties. I know people say, well, the last time I voted for Ross Perot and Bill Clinton got in there. Well, it's different, folks. Ross Perot didn't have a party tied to him. All right, Ross Perot was his own thing. He was an independent. He was just a dude running for president. It's completely different. We are a party. We've been around for 45 years. We've been doing this ballot access thing on our own. We're not tied to the cult of Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson is running for the Libertarian on the Libertarian Party ticket because we have full ballot access. We've done it the other way around. We've taken 45 years to get ballot access because the old parties control who gets ballot access. And we've gone up and fought that battle every single step of the way. And here we are, folks. We've got it. So a lot of good stuff to talk about today on the show. I want to thank little Ricky over there on the ones and twos he is producing today. And it is appropriate to mention our sponsors over here at Liberty Stickers, libertystickers.com. If you want to get involved with the world's most dangerous bumper stickers, go to libertystickers.com. If you need campaign supplies, bumper stickers, yard signs, business cards, push cards, door hangers, any of those wacky things, go to libertystickers.com. Folks, we've got a lot of things going on in the Libertarian Party of Texas. Now is the time of year that we have just massive amounts of questions coming in, massive amounts of volunteers coming in, any of that sort of thing. If you want to get involved, go to lptexas.org and send in your applications, send in your donations. This is the time we get going. Ricky, if you get a chance, feel free to jump over here onto a microphone too. I kind of wanted to talk to you I know you're busy over there. I did want to talk to you about your experience over at the National Convention. I can tell you exactly what I went through. In 2012, at our last nominating convention, we gave out something like 20 media passes. This time around, we gave out over 400. All right, it's a completely different animal this time around. All right, this is not a third-party candidacy. This is a known quantity. People are sick of what the old parties are throwing out, and we are the other option. People say, well, I don't want Hillary Clinton to win, so I guess I got to vote for Trump. Well, I don't want Trump to win, so I guess I got to vote for Hillary. Well, guess what? They don't. There is another option on the table. So we are literally living in this bizarro world right now where my Bush Romney-loving grandmother and my Bernie Sanders-loving sister are going to be running around arm in arm singing the praises of Gary Johnson together. This is wacky, folks. Did you ever think something like that might be possible? Well, it is. It is possible. It's happening right now. It's a lot of fun, too. It's a lot of fun. And right now, the messaging that is coming out of the Gary Johnson campaign is very much aimed at the Bernie Sanders camp. Gary Johnson is pro-marijuana. He owned, I should say, because he stepped down right before the campaign, a marijuana company, the Our America Initiative, something like that. Or he owned a cannabis company of some sort. He uses cannabis. He doesn't smoke it. He eats it. He doesn't like smoking things because he's an athlete. He's climbed all of the 7 largest peaks in the world, including Mount Everest. He did something really interesting when he was the governor of New Mexico. New Mexico famously during those years had really bad roads. And instead of raising taxes to pay for those roads, Governor Johnson got on his bicycle on one side of the state and asked people to donate money for every mile that he rode his bicycle. And he rode his bicycle all across the state, raising money for the roads and paid for new roads that way. Voluntarily. I thought that was clever. That's a great way to raise money. That's what people do to raise money for cancer. Things like that. Isn't that how folks normally raise money for that sort of thing? Don't you get hit up for that sort of thing all the time? Anyways, I'm just extremely excited for the things we have going on in the party right now. And I'm trying to pull up our time clock, and I've not been successful in doing so because I've got a few minutes. I understand that. I just realized that I had the caps lock on, so I'm in good shape, though. Oh, Anyways, let me tell you a little bit about what went down in Orlando. So like I said, there was a lot of people there this time. I think in 2012 we had something like 400 or 500 delegates. This time we maxed out at just over 1,000 delegates. The place was packed. It was packed. There was media constantly there. Anyone who says, well, I haven't seen you guys in the media this time around, you're just not watching. We've been on every major media outlet possible over the last couple of weeks, including, I don't know, I mean, I even saw Gary Johnson on Samantha Bee. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, I mean, everything. He's been on every single outlet possible. It's been incredible. It's been like being in an actual party. These old parties do not know what's coming at them. They've got no answer for this. They've got no answer. So yes, we are absolutely going after the White House this time around. We're absolutely going after the White House. Do we think we're going to win? You know, we absolutely have the opportunity to win. But let me tell you the secret here. All right, the insider's game. Do we think we're going to win? I'm not going to say we think we're going to win. I'm not going to say that. But I think we're going to break the two-party system. I think that's going to happen in this election. I am not saying we're not playing to win. We are absolutely playing to win. I would not be doing this if I were. I'm not playing to lose. I think we're going to break the two-party system. And isn't that a victory for everybody? Isn't that totally what we're all wanting to do? Everybody in this country agrees that something is wrong with our government. Whether you've been voting Democrat your entire life or Republican your entire life, you agree something is wrong with our government. We have the opportunity to change something this time around, and that something is to break the two-party system. We can crack it up in this one election. Johnson is already polling around 12% in national polls. All he's got to do is get to 15% in order to get into the debates. There's 3 national debates coming up. All he got to be doing is polling at 15%. We get a libertarian into the national debates. It's a game changer. It is a game changer. There were moments at the national convention when it was not clear that Gary Johnson was going to win the nomination. There were certainly moments when it was not clear that Bill Weld was going to win the vice presidential nomination. Certainly moments there. I think he only ended up winning that VP nomination by 46 votes, something like that. I think this has to do a lot with the narrative that anarchists have or voluntarists have that voluntarists shouldn't vote for some reason. So we got outnumbered. We got outnumbered in the LP. I think ultimately my point here is when people are running around saying, oh, the LP has been co-opted by Republicans, I think that's silly and ridiculous, and you should reject that. Yes, we have 2 former Republican governors at the top of the ticket. That's true. But that is one race that there are former Republicans running. We had a lot of former Republicans in the party, by the way, but that's one race. All right, we've got anarcho-capitalists as the chair and the vice chair and on the LNC and in the Judicial Committee and all up and down throughout the entire organization is still people who have been in the party for many, many years and thousands of other candidates. The party has not been co-opted by Republicans. What is happening is a couple of former Republican governors are sitting at the top of the ticket, and they are bringing over more supporters than we've ever seen before. This is it, folks. This is the election where we break the two-party system. It's extremely exciting. We're going to take some of your phone calls here in the next 40 minutes or so, so get ready to call us in. Your number is 512-646-1984. Again, your number is 512-646-1984. Here on the Voice of Reason radio show on the Logos Radio Network, or here locally in Austin at 89.1 FM. I'm your host, Ben Farmer. This is the official show of the Libertarian Party of Texas. We'll catch you right after this.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
Whoa, amber is the color of your energy. Whoa, shades of gold displayed naturally. You want to know what brings me here? Fly through my head, blind to fear. And I know whoa, amber is the color of your energy. Whoa, shades of gold displayed
Hey, welcome back to the Voice of Reason radio show here on the Logos Radio Network and 89.1 FM here locally in beautiful Austin, Texas. Don't move here. This is the official radio show of the Libertarian Party of Texas. Please, to get involved with the Libertarian Party of Texas, go to lptexas.org. And sitting here to my left, I've got the madman himself, the Lion.
Roar!
Little Ricky Austin.
Where are my lions of liberty? Let me hear ye roar.
I was in a suite at the convention, up in the Austin Peterson suite, watching C-SPAN with no sound, by the way. And suddenly the entire room got quiet, and we all looked at C-SPAN, and there was the Lion himself emoting.
Oh man,
emoting.
Is that where you were?
Yeah.
Oh.
Through the screen on C-SPAN. There was little Ricky Perkins.
Boy, I brought it. I want to ask you this. Since you were all up there and you're in the room, Did you see the little girl I brought, that little Georgia Peach that came up there? And I said, you look at my face. I said, I'm a 60-year-old white guy. I go, I am not the future of this party. I said, here is the future of the Libertarian National Party. Will you please give it up? And I held her up. A little 15-year-old black girl from Georgia is opening her own Libertarian Party. She's going to college. She's homeschooled, and she's starting college in September. She's going back. When I heard that, I said, honey, you're going on stage with me. Come on up. Yeah. I brought her up, and I said, it's the future. Women, we want more women in power. There's plenty of room. We need more women in power in our party. We embrace all cultures, and we reach out. I thought I did a pretty good reach out on there. And then if you were listening up in the suite, you may not have heard it, but I reached out feebly. I tried, and I spoke the best Spanish I could to talk about how in Spanish, I reached out to my brothers out there, and I said, Los Republicanos entienden. They don't want you. I said, Los Democratos, they threw you away. I said, come, we want all of the todos Hispanos y niños y familias y niños, todos. Tu familia esa sus familia. And I said, please join the Patria Libertad.
Yeah, and I wasn't listening to audio, but there were subtitles, on C-SPAN. And man, when you started speaking Spanish, the subtitle guy just had an aneurysm. I don't think he was prepared for that.
Well, I did not give him warning. I didn't know I had to give warning in that regard. But
we were throwing the subtitle guy into complete panic all throughout the weekend, by the way. Yeah. Because, from time to time we were doing call and repeats. Nick from our chairman, Nick Sarwark would shout, something like he would lift his left arm up and the whole business floor would shout out the website, the web address. Yeah. And then he would lift his right arm and the whole floor would shout out the phone number. And so then the guy doing the subtitles on C-SPAN was trying to fill it all in, and you could just see the panic going on.
And I'm sure that calls to UNICEF or whatever got on there were probably sent out. 1-800 something going out, and there's what's the website? We just hoping
right.
A lot of hits.
So what is that website? It's lp.org.
The lp.org.
And then the phone number is 1-800-VOTE-US.
That sounds fantastic.
I think
let's call it right now. 1-800-VOTE-US, folks. Call it. See what happens.
I don't know what it was a lot. Elect us. 1-800-ELECT-US.
Yeah, that's it.
Is what it is. So anyways, but it was a lot of fun. There were great moments throughout there. There was one moment where a young man walks up and says, point of inquiry, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Chair says, point of inquiry. He says, is taxation theft? And Mr. Chair says, taxation is theft. Roar. And the whole crowd goes nuts. And,
it was great. Yeah. It was so great when they did that.
Yeah, there were just little moments like that all through. It's a business. It's a business session, but people are just injecting these little things.
It had it a lot.
Using Robert's rules.
Yeah, it was within Robert's rules of order. I said, yes, taxation is theft. All right, moving on.
Moving on to the next thing.
Point taken.
There was a moment where somebody walked up and said, it might have been a rules of the day thing. I moved to take a 10-minute break. 10-minute break. What time should we start? 4:20 this afternoon. 4:20. Does everyone? Any second? Yes, I second that motion. All right. All in favor? Aye. All in favor. So then at 4:20 that afternoon, everyone walked out. They walked back in at 4:30. It was very formal, but everyone knew what the hell was going on.
Hilarious. That was so hilarious to me.
And that's exactly what a libertarian convention was. Simultaneously going on in the same convention center was a megacon. So people are familiar with Comic-Con and these type things. This was also exactly what was going on at the same time as our convention.
Huge were men and women. A lot of women in big outfits that looked like Las Vegas. Huge outfits. They couldn't fit in the elevators.
Sure.
They had swords. They had Tridents and huge platform shoes. I've got bunch of pictures on my website, rickperkinsfortexas.org. I don't know if I mentioned that. rickperkinsfortexas.com.
Rick Perkins for Texas. Is it org or com?
It's both. I got you both ways, huh? No way you can get you, if I can get you there. So, but you see all of this, that and the National Women's Volleyball Tournament was going on. Very, very tall women walking around, and it was such a strange mix to where I thought we were the weird ones. I said, wait a minute. And then MegaCon came in, and all decked out in the purple wigs and pink wigs, and it was a wild time.
It was a great time. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. We've got Tim from Texas. Tim from Texas, go ahead.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Great. Hey, I just had a question about the Libertarian Party running, and I'm sure you're going to correct me because I might be wrong, but I thought with Ron Paul, whenever he tried the first time to run a Libertarian ticket, he got knocked out simply by Oklahoma because they don't allow third parties at all.
I don't know. The last time Ron Paul ran, he ran as a Republican. That was in 2012, so he did not make it through the Republican primary process. I do know that there will be a Libertarian on the ballot in Oklahoma this year. We fought that battle and won it last month. Maybe 6 weeks ago, we confirmed that we will be on the ballot in Oklahoma.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think this is the first time Ron Paul ran, and something to the nature of they just wrote it out like there's no other way any other party could get in. And that was like one of the hurdles why Ron Paul switched to the Republican Party.
I can say this is the first year that any third party will be on the ballot in all 50 states.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment. We've got to keep that up, too.
Yeah, that is the difference between a Libertarian and any other third party giving it any other third party. This is the difference between Ross Perot running or even Teddy Roosevelt in 1912 is that we're just better at it. And we've been fighting the ballot access battle. That's what we've been doing for the last 45 years.
And I say that, we have for 45 years. You go back to all the other years. And ballot access is a key to everything. And that is I show when I speak to audiences and I talk to people, I said that just shows you another instance of the two-party system that is rigged to say, no, two's enough. We don't need anybody else. Oh, and if you do want to try to get on, here's all the signatures you're going to need. And they can't vote in any other primaries. They can't be doing this. They can only do this. They put so many restrictions on there and so many signatures you have to get. It costs $250,000. If we lost ballot access, it's $250,000.
Well, just in this state.
In this state alone.
Right. You're right. We spend millions and millions of dollars nationwide every year.
And their ploy is, we'll just bankrupt the Libertarian Party with ballot access.
Right.
It's wrong. It's a rigged two-party system, and that is dead.
That is dead this year. This is the year that we break that two-party system.
That's right.
So even if you aren't a huge fan of Gary Johnson, of course there are going to be folks out there that fall in this category. Even if you're not a huge fan of Gary Johnson, you might consider just throw your vote his direction just to break the two-party system. Well, to me, that's reason enough.
And it's not a wasted vote. People said wasted vote. I said, look at all the people running away from the two parties when both major parties are trying to put a third party inside their own party. Right. We are now the number one party of the new American Revolution. I say, come this way, folks. You have so many disgruntled to the right, so many disgruntled to the left, and so many undecided and unregistered in the middle. And students going, what do we do? I go, you are right here where we want you. Come right to center field with us and join the Libertarian Party, LP.org. We have answers on every issue. We'll stand up to any challenge you want, and we fought to be on all 50 states. We're not going away.
That's right. And if you want to get involved, go to lptexas.org. We're going to take more phone calls when we come back from this break. Go to lptexas.org to get involved. We'll come right back after this short commercial break.
Remember Madonna's hit song Express Yourself? Well, the Material Girls anthem turns out to be very good advice for couples. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back to tell you why in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Comedian Phyllis Diller might have been onto something when she joked, "Never go to bed mad, stay up and fight." Researchers at the University of Michigan studied marital conflict in 197 couples over 17 years. Couples where both partners suppressed their anger over unfair attacks were twice as likely to die earlier than couples where at least one partner expressed their anger. Professor Ernest Harburg, the lead author of the study, says couples should identify healthy ways to handle their conflicts and work them through to resolution. He warns that couples who bury their anger, brood on it, and resent their partners are setting themselves up for trouble and shorter lives. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Boom. We are back. Boom. And you are back. Listen to the Voice of Reason radio show here on the Logos Radio Network. And here locally in beautiful Austin, Texas. Don't move here on 89.1 FM. We are talking to the wild man himself, Little Ricky Austin.
Lion of Liberty. All you lions of liberty out there, let me hear you roar across this grand nation.
To get involved with the Little Ricky campaign, go to rickperkins.org.
rickperkinsfortexas.org.
rickperkinsfortexas.org.
Left it general like they did. Put a year on it because Rick Perkins will be around Texas for a while, and we don't know what else Rick Perkins has in store.
It's a perpetual Rick Perkins. Rick Perkins for Texas.
I'm having pint glasses from merchandise from myself built, and pint glass says, a pint of Perkins is plenty.
Oh, I like the alliteration, too.
And there'd be a crest of me on there with my picture and my website. It's like, because I talk so much, people are like, you talk a lot. I said, well, how about if I just talk a pint's worth? So everybody can buy a glass, and I'll put beer in it and say, well, I'll drink a pint. When that's done, you guys can talk and ask me questions. All right, a pint of Perkins is plenty.
So there was a moment in the business session where somebody turned in a missing cell phone.
Yeah.
There was a missing cell phone. Somebody walked up to the chair, to Nick Sarwark, the national chair.
Should not go to the national chair. Should not on national television.
On national chair. Yeah. This is.
Should not.
Live on C-SPAN, and I think CNN was in there that day, too.
Point of order.
And doesn't go to the Lost and Found, goes to the national chair on national TV, live TV. And he accepts it. He asks, is anyone missing their phone? Nothing. An hour later, long later, suddenly the phone rings. Well, on national TV, he answers the phone, says, hello, this is the national chair, Nick Sarwark, the whole place, the whole business session. 2,000 people are in there. The whole place. Who are you trying to call? Little Ricky Austin, huh? Little Ricky Austin.
Oh, man.
Would Little Ricky Austin like to come get his phone?
So embarrassed. I was outside running up and down all the vendors. I'd stopped at, and I figured I'd laid it on a table at one of the vendors. I bought 7 books while I was there. It was great books. And so I just laid it. So I went back to every vendor. No, I don't have it. So I said all of them. I had all of them start calling my phone. I said, all of them started calling. I said, somewhere, someone will pick it up. And it'll be, there it is on the vendor's table. Didn't know the national chair is holding my phone up in front of everybody.
At the dais.
Ricky, come get your phone, you idiot. Wipe your nose. It's time for your medications, Ricky. Oh, my God.
Oh, we had a great time, though. Wasn't that just an electric room?
It was wonderful.
When the actual presidential election was going on, that room was electric.
Yeah, it was exciting.
The signs being waved around.
People were parading back and forth across this hall, and the signs come out of nowhere.
The media.
And the media
I was in the back of the room. I was back there, where the campaign managers were and where everything was getting counted, because we were making kind of all last-minute deals with one another. And it was... you hear about, and I think it's beyond the election far enough now. It's okay for me to talk about kind of you hear about the backroom deals that are made and that sort of thing. And I've always heard about these things, but I was actually involved in them this time around.
Yeah. You're a player, baby. You're a player.
I was so excited. I mean, it was really interesting. Yeah. At 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, I'm in a private suite with Austin Peterson's campaign manager and Gary Johnson's campaign manager. And we're trying to figure out, okay, here's what's going on in this building right now. Gary's likely to win tomorrow, but Bill Weld, we don't know.
Right.
That's where you guys are weak. So
that's right.
And moving forward, you guys, you're not going to be doing real well with millennials. We don't think, and you're going to need the Austin Peterson folks to help you with millennials. So let's talk. Where do we see people fitting in here? Now I can tell you, no deals were made. There nothing sinister happened. But it was just interesting to be involved in these conversations. Man. All right, we're all libertarians.
Yes.
So where are we all going to fit in together in moving forward?
Where's your piece of the puzzle, and how do we unify that puzzle together and move forward?
Where do these messages start to fit together? And it was fascinating. So during these elections, I'm in the back of the room where all of these people are.
Yeah.
Just watching the whole room, all the media, all the signs being waved and shaken.
So much energy. It just rose in the room. It was exciting.
It was so exciting. And then, I'm standing there with Mo, a friend of mine, but a guy who works for the Gary Johnson campaign. We had made $1,000 bet against one another.
Oh my gosh.
And the bet was, he had bet that Gary was going to win on the first ballot. And I had taken that bet. I said, no, I don't think so. I think he's not going to win on the first ballot. Well, as they're going to each state delegation, and they're calling out, 15 to Peterson, 28 to Gary Johnson, 10 to McAfee. I lost count in my head.
Yeah.
But I'm standing there just going, well, it's not looking good for me, So I'm sitting there with my arm around Mo, and okay, I'm pretty sure I'm losing here. They put the numbers up, and Gary Johnson has something like 49.2%.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, you need 50% to win, right?
Yeah.
He had 49 point something percent, and I was just like, woo!
$1,000.
$1,000.
Ka-ching. Welcome to Vegas.
So at that point, the whole room, or at least the back of the room where all the people, all the deal makers are, goes nuts at that point. Yeah. Okay, now what's our move? We're going to a second ballot.
Yeah.
Okay, now what do we do? Yeah. So at this point, everyone's like, okay, what now? All right, whose votes can we take? Do we get Feldman to drop out of the race?
Right.
Feldman, who are you going to throw your support behind? And then the Johnson people are trying to talk to Feldman to see what it's chaos. It's just chaos at that point.
It is glorious chaos. That is what you're right. The veins are pulsing.
Yes.
That's exciting. That is politics in action there.
It is as high as I have ever been in my entire life.
Fantastic.
I absolutely loved it.
And all the states too. They're all huddling and bundling because they say, well, what do we do? We got 17 votes. Well, maybe we can leverage that. Can we prepare up with New Mexico? And maybe we can if we got a block of 70, we could 3 states or a region. Let's vote as a region. And all the regions were meeting and everybody. It's just the energy level in the entire. This is a huge convention center.
And you only have like 10 minutes before the next vote.
It's got to happen right now. Let's go.
So there's no time to actually make up a real plan. They're basically, what ends up happening is 10 different plans get made and then just put into action. That's it. Just here we go. The next thing, and suddenly we're voting again.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're voting again.
Very exciting.
And then it takes 40 minutes to tabulate the votes. So then while you're tabulating the votes, everyone is still making plans.
Yeah.
So, but it means nothing at that point. the plans mean absolutely nothing at that point.
But it's fun.
Oh, so much fun. So much fun.
Everybody was so engaged. I'd go state to state and I'd go, listen, how are you throwing? Where are you throwing your votes? Especially when we went to vice president. After we went to the president.
Vice president.
I don't want to get off president. If you want to talk some more about president.
No, go ahead. No, I do want to talk about vice president because that's where it really matters.
Okay, can we segue into the vice president? Now everything segues to who's going to come in here and help top off this ticket?
Right.
Well, Weld is not a given. Weld was never a given. There was a lot. The Radical Caucus. There was a lot of opposition, and there was signage started coming out. Here comes sharp signs coming out.
Right.
Here come other folks coming out saying, wait a minute. Well, there's 2 positions to be filled. Let's
start from the beginning.
Okay.
In this party, the delegates vote for the vice presidential spot. The president does not get to pick his running mate. The president gets an opportunity to speak to the delegates and suggest, this is who I'd like as my running mate. But the delegates pick the vice president. So it's not a given that this Bill Weld character, who came out of, frankly, nowhere as far as the Libertarian Party is concerned.
I thought he was like a late trade in a football season. We kind of traded him in, and all of a sudden I went, oh, now you're a Libertarian. Right. Yes, I bought my lifetime ribbon.
And this was kind of the perception around him. Yeah. So what you're seeing in the building, in the building at the time was, well, first of all, there was a vice presidential debate. And I think coming out of that debate, it was pretty clear that a gentleman out of New York named Larry Sharpe owned that debate.
He did.
He was, I'm going to call him a mostly unknown person until that debate, and he owned it.
He came a fire. He wants to be governor of New York, and he told me that.
Well, he's got my support.
He's got mine, too, and I said so. I will lobby and help him. I was on the Mario Cuomo campaign back in New York. New York politics is fun.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got the energy, he's got the drive, the look, he's got the charisma. Mm-hmm. I want him to stay with us, and of course I'd love to see a Libertarian governor of New York. My God, would that be wonderful.
Right.
But whatever Larry Sharpe wants to do in the Libertarian Party is his to have. I think.
Well, and I was in on a bunch of the back end deals going on there too. We've only got 30 seconds on this segment, but let's finish the show off talking about this vice presidential thing. Okay. Because that was the most interesting thing that happened all weekend. And I think we can give that story when we come back after this break. You're listening to the Voice of Reason radio show here on the Logos Radio Network and on 89.1 FM here in beautiful Austin, Texas.
Don't move here, please.
Get involved with the Libertarian Party of Texas. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Voice of Reason radio show here on the Logos Radio Network and here locally in beautiful Austin, Texas.
Please don't move here.
At 89.1 FM. You are listening to the official radio show of the Libertarian Party of Texas. To get involved with the Libertarian Party of Texas, go to lptexas.org. And we are sitting here going to give you guys the lowdown on just exactly how Bill Weld won the vice presidential nomination at the national convention in Orlando. It was really interesting.
How did it start out where he was a given? Because Gary gave a plea. This is who I'm choosing, and he brings money to the party, and he can get on television. That's what he told me personally, and he can get on all the national talk shows.
That was the narrative. He was not a given, not by a long shot. Going into the convention. I think Bill Weld's name was not even mentioned until week of.
Yeah. Where'd that come from? Is all of a sudden
I would say week of, maybe week prior, maybe 10 days going into the convention, but I don't know.
So what backroom deals did we miss on that one? What conversations?
I am sure what was going on was for months and months and months and years probably. Gary Johnson has been looking for a insider, a money guy, a media guy. Yep. And that's why he didn't have Judge Jim Gray again. Remember, he ran with Judge Jim Gray in 2012. And Jim Gray didn't get any media appearances for him in 2012. Jim Gray didn't get any big money donations for him in 2012. We like Jim Gray. Wonderful. I've heard Jim Gray speak. I've met Jim Gray not lots of times, a couple of times. I don't agree with him 100%, but I'm in the 90th percent range probably with Jim Gray.
But is he a vice president?
No, probably not. Bill Weld, I had never heard of before. I'm a Southerner though. So Bill Weld is very famous in the North. He's a Massachusetts, New York guy. He's one of those type guys.
Elected twice. Elected to Massachusetts. He's
governor.
He's got governmental
experience. He's got the credentials. He's a 2-term governor of Massachusetts. Yep. He looked to become a governor of New York at one point. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that was it. When they hit on Weld, the Johnson campaign, they went, "This is our guy. This is our guy. We've got to sell this to the delegates."
Yep.
Well, they didn't have a lot of time to sell him to the delegates, and it was not clear that they were going to be able to sell him to the delegates. Enter the VP debate. And this guy named Larry Sharpe just knocks it out of the park.
He did. Beautiful.
Knocks it out of the park. I would say Alicia Dern went into that convention as the favorite.
Yes,
she had been with the party for the longest. She had worked with the Gary Johnson campaign.
She's very loyal.
She is
hardworking.
She is Gary Johnson's attorney that Gary Johnson lawsuit that he has against the debate commission. Yeah? That's her lawsuit.
Oh.
Yeah, she's worked with Johnson for many years, and she did not go into that convention as necessarily a Johnson supporter. Now, she's not anti-Gary Johnson, but she didn't go in necessarily as a Johnson supporter. So she left her options open for, had Peterson won or had McAfee won.
Right.
She, I would say, absolutely went into that as the favorite. Larry Sharpe came out of that debate owning that building.
Yeah, he did.
He was owning that building.
Precise, sharp, fact-based, statistics behind it. Mm-hmm. I quoted it, rate of delivery.
Philosophically sound.
Yeah, sound on every point. Great to look at. He's photographic. Great choice. Great leader. He's going to be a great leader in this party.
Mm-hmm. So what immediately went down then I can tell you from the Peterson campaign standpoint is I got tasked with vetting these people, which it's kind of a silly thing to do. What are we going to do? Find some skeletons in people's closets in an afternoon?
What you got? What do you got? We need to know about.
Right. So I pulled in all of my New York people who I knew to go find out everything about Larry Sharpe as possible. And he was a solid guy. I pulled in all my Alicia Dern people that I knew to find out everything I could about Alicia Dern. And ultimately, by the end, and I wasn't in on the decision-making process. Austin and his campaign manager made the actual decision to choose to support Alicia Dern. So if you remember this, in Austin Peterson's concession speech, when he lost to Gary Johnson, this is before the vice president election. When Austin Peterson concedes, he says, "I concede to Gary Johnson," whatever it is, "and I support Gary Johnson, and I endorse Gary Johnson. I give you my flintlock, this pistol as a sign. Here, you have my sword, you have my pistol, but I do not endorse Bill Weld. I encourage you delegates to vote for Alicia Dern," is what he says.
Yep.
So anyways, that went on, and that was exciting. So Bill Weld is in no way I guess he's still the front runner, I suppose.
He's not a lot.
So Johnson gets up there in his support speech for Weld and practically begs the delegates.
Yeah.
Please give me Weld.
Please.
The narrative behind Weld is that he will bring money. Lots of money to the party, lots of media attention to the party.
Yes.
And I will say, to this point, we have seen the media attention.
Yep.
Whether or not that is because of Bill Weld, I don't know.
I don't either. I taped, and I hope everybody listening out there did too. I recorded it. Johnson and Weld were on Colbert.
I saw them on Colbert. They were great.
There they were.
I've seen them on several things.
Yeah, there's been a lot of morning stuff, but to get on something like that, to get hopefully a Colbert bump, get exposure to millennials, his demographics.
Right.
That was big.
Have we seen the money? We have not seen the money yet. So it is still early.
We better see it in October. That's for sure. September and October.
Well, I will say we have not seen it yet. So,
I'm getting a call. Check is in the mail. Check is
in the mail. We have seen the media though. I've definitely seen Johnson and or Weld on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Washington Post, Politico, 538. Everything. I've seen them on everything.
Right.
What's the Samantha Bee? I saw them on Samantha Bee.
Yeah, that's true.
I've seen them on everything in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. So media, we've got it this time around.
Yeah.
We're there.
I think people, and being there is in a great spot because there's so many people looking elsewhere from their own parties, from the two parties, and they're disgruntled, and all the undecideds, and all the folks out in the middle who've been left out. We are in a perfect position.
Did you see that Johnson is leading Clinton with independent voters right now?
I saw that.
That was a Fox News poll. That's a national poll.
We'll take it. We'll take that.
Leading
from Fox.
Yeah. Leading Clinton with independent voters.
Yeah. That was very exciting. Good to see that.
Yeah.
We got to get him up to the 15% so that he's almost there so we can get him onto the national debate so there'll be 3 candidates standing there at the presidential.
At the beginning of last week, he was polling at 10%. Yeah. At the end of last week, he was polling at 12.
Yeah. We're
closing it. We're closing it in. We got to get him to 15%. So if you're out there, any of you Schmohawks listening in radio listening land, if you do get polled and they ask you who you're planning on voting for, just go ahead and say Johnson. Even if you're planning on voting for Flying Spaghetti Monster, it doesn't matter. Just say Johnson. Let's get him into the debates.
Yeah. At least put him up on the national stage with the other two. Give him a shot. The time has come. People are looking elsewhere. Both parties are disgruntled with their choices. They're not happy. We've never had a better position to be in. We really have more leverage than we know, and we haven't used it to its full potential yet.
Here's a fun one. Yesterday morning, I saw, or maybe yesterday evening, doesn't matter, I saw Mitt Romney say that he's considering voting for Gary Johnson.
Did you? I could not believe. I was going to bring that up. Can you believe that? Mitt Romney telling folks out there, you might want to give a look to Johnson.
So we are now living.
What? Play that back again.
We're living in this now bizarro election where Mitt Romney and my Bernie Sanders loving sister might be voting for the same people, same person.
Yeah.
And it's a libertarian.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's the bizarro election we're living in right now.
We've been standing out here in this big field for 45 years.
Yes.
Saying, hello.
We're the best option for everyone.
Land the plane right here. Here you can. Bring the plane loads of money right in there. I come this way.
Yeah.
And then finally now we've got both parties looking, going, you know what? It's time. Let's look around. I went, never been a better time. I tell it every speech I give to everybody. There's never been a better time to be a libertarian ever. And
because the difference is with our philosophy, you can be whatever it is that you want to be.
That's right.
We are not making you be anything other than what you want to be. All we ask is that you don't force that way of life on anybody else.
Absolutely. Pursuit of happiness.
That's it. That is our entire philosophy. Yeah. You can live your life however you want to live it. Just don't force anyone else to live that way.
They have their liberties and freedoms too, and we recognize that. That's why the Libertarian Party is so embracing. We embrace others that we may not have full agreement with, but we do know that they have powerful voices out there that are not being heard. We embrace the gay and lesbian communities. We reach out to our black brothers and sisters. We reach out into those churches. At least I've been going out and speaking to those. We reach out to the Hispanic brothers and sisters and families out there. They're looking at the working poor. We're the veterans. My gosh, the veterans. I speak for the veterans. They feel like they've been so abandoned, and now all we're going to do is let both of these hawks, the Hitlery and the guy with the mop on his head, we're going to let them send us back into more war. They promised us that. They promised us that. Mm-hmm. We are non-aggression principle, folks. We don't go get into other people's civil wars. Let's take care of. We got enough problems. Let's move on to other things. We're non-aggression, and there are others who are going to send us into war. You're going to put more veterans back into homes. You're going to ruin more families' lives. That alone resonates so strongly when I speak to veterans, because they want to be the last generation of veterans. They don't want any behind them because they've seen the horrors of war, and they don't want to put their sons and daughters into it. And Hitlery and Trump are going to do exactly that. And I said, that's another strong point for the Libertarian Party. We are a non-aggression policy. Let them fight their civil wars. We've got enough on our plate.
We've got enough on our plate, and we've got enough of this show for one day. So I want to thank Little Ricky Austin for being here. Go to his website. That is rickperkins4texas.com or .gov. This is the end of the show, folks. We're going to be right back next week. Go to lptexas.org. I've been Ben Farmer, and next week I'll be Ben Farmer once again.